me welcome my next two guests. Hira Wajahat leads the programs and projects team at Stimulus with a focus on sustainability, cleantech, and innovation. Hira is also the Pakistan national lead for ClimateLaunchpad. She's actively engaged as a business mentor and coach, consulting and facilitating trainings for startups and new business ventures. Hira, welcome to the show. We also have Roman. Roman Zinchenko is the co-founder of Greencubator. It's a Greencubator is a smart energy economy. Roman is a smart energy green economy advocate and communication specialist. Since 2009, he has developed ecosystem for green startups, social entrepreneurship, and sustainable innovations at Greencubator, which is a Ukrainian energy innovation network. Sorry for the fumbles, Roman and Hira. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Suresh.
Thank you.
Hira, hi, I'm joining from India and you're from my neighboring country, Pakistan.
Absolutely.
So let's hear from you first. Tell us a little bit about what your work is like in Pakistan.
I think, and you would be well aware coming from India, that our work is cut out for us, given that just the sheer size of our countries, it's unimaginable. So I like to share at many forums that if I put at least 9 European countries together, it makes up for one Pakistan. And perhaps we don't have the same kind of infrastructure, we don't have the same kind of technology support. So implementing a program like ClimateLaunchpad, as exciting as it is, to get all those brilliant ideas from across the country, it's also a challenge and a half because 194 universities that we try to reach out through and through them find out those innovations or those young people who are working for the program or, bringing up with these clean tech ideas. This year, it was a little bit different because, of course, the COVID situation meant that the universities were shut for 6 months. So, then we had to change our entire modality on how to make sure that we got the participation that we really wanted for the program. And what we tried to do was host some, of course, normally when we go and reach out to universities, we were doing small workshops like 1 hour guest speaker sessions, touching up on some topic related to entrepreneurship, related to startups, in addition to talking about the Climate Launchpad program. So we had to shift all of that to a digital webinar kind of a format. And we then, built up this modular program, which was a steps of startup. So right from the idea stage to kind of the pitching stage, created 6 small workshops out of it. And the mandate of each was to, sort of post it up on digital forums and tell people that we're having this workshop. It's free of cost. You come, you participate, and we'll talk to you about Climate Launchpad. And, if you have this idea, how you can take part in it. So that's how it's been for us. Of course, this was coupled up with, again, reaching out through partners. So the core sponsors for the program for us come from the corporate sector. So reaching out to them where we were trying to get up to one of the telecom companies and, saying to them that, hey, you have about 40%, I mean, as it is 50% of Pakistan is a young population. So you have outreach to this large number of, 40% of your consumers is perhaps already the young people between 18 and 35. So why don't you send them out like text messages and say, climate is changing, we're facing these impacts, and look, you can do something about it. If you have like some great business idea, why don't you pitch it to the competition and, take part in this? So things like that, we've been still trying to play around. But of course, I think for us, one challenge would just be reaching out to the number of people that we would like to. However, once, we are able to reach out, I think it's then almost the best kind of feeling to see the kind of craziness, the kind of innovation that is coming from very, very challenged backgrounds if I compare them to other countries in the world.
Thank you, Hira. Roman, over to you. Tell us about your work in Ukraine.
For us, the Climate Launchpad is actually a very essential, fuel cell we were adding to our energy mix in our efforts to springboard the clean tech and climate innovations in Ukraine. So Greencubator has been doing this work since 2009, and we consider ourselves to be ecosystem organization. And that's really interesting how collaboration and participation in such an impressive network brought us next level of opportunity in terms of collaborations, because well, when we met first France in 2016, Franz Nauta, one of the founders of Climate Launchpad, did an introduction which was really essential for further developing the ecosystem, because he introduced us to our good friend Ruben Neuwenhaus, the author of the book called Startup City, which we published in Ukrainian, and which became one of the crystallizing point for many initiatives within Ukraine's tech ecosystem. So Ukraine is known for IT innovations and a lot of development centers and a lot of software created here, and we're fueling the clean tech innovation. So now we are the part of an initiative called Tech Ukraine, where Ruben is the actually president, and which is bringing the topic of clean tech, and the CEO of Tech Ukraine was recently a jury member of the national final. So the Ukrainian clean tech sector is rather diverse, and we are happy we are able to provide the knowledge, resources, and inspiration to develop it further. It varies from electrical mobility to green titanium, from food safety solutions to cut the food losses in the supply chains, to heating, ventilation, and the air conditioning, from data science for energy efficiency to many other things. And for us, the very practical things we see in developing Ukrainian clean tech is how Climate Launchpad is actually contributing and helping to go to the next level, because it became the attraction point, the magnet for many clean tech wannabes and young entrepreneurs to start. And then we were able to provide them the next level of support, to introduce them to some of the next level programs. So GoToYou, one of the top 10 Climate Launchpad startups in 2017 in Cyprus, has recently started the rollout of their own fast charging network, in addition to the apps they have covering from Thailand to Portugal. The Toka, another finalist from Edinburgh from 2008, has recently launched the grid balancing huge charging system in the capital city of Kyiv. Biosense was awarded numerous awards at the international competitions. EFA, the finalist of 2016, is redefining one of the most wasteful plastic supply chains, which is the toothbrush plastic, which is used for once very often and thrown away, and they're doing sustainable biodisposable solutions. Well, one of our guys from last year recently relocated to Poland, went to Forbes Poland 30 under 30 top list, and became one of the best startups. They called Green Bean. Atmosphere is now helping the solar producers to predict their energy generation from their solar parks. And Carbominer was accepted to Climate-KIC accelerator, and recently got investment. So, and that's really important, because at the next stage, Greencubator, as ecosystem organization and national lead for Climate Launchpad, is capable to provide some of the alums with the grants for the further developing their green ventures, because we are operators of Ukraine's largest clean tech grant program funded by EBRD and the European Union, called Climate Innovation Vouchers. And for many of the Climate Launchpad alums, it became the next stage booster. And like for me personally, I'm immensely grateful for the work done by the Climate Launchpad team in educating our team, because, well, this thing made me the believer in the Bill Ollett's work. So I'm probably that's the most advocated book now for our friends and partners, for people coming by. And we see a lot of methodologies which was concentrated in Climate Launchpad workbook. We want to develop courses. So that's why we see another request from the community to localize some of the content into Ukrainian language. And we just launched the collaboration with Lviv Business School, which is one of Ukraine's top business schools, to deliver this educational program. And we're launching a new program which is called Greencubator Academy, which is largely inspired by the Climate Launchpad bootcamps. So that's what we do to develop the ecosystem which attracts, educates, and fuels the development of clean tech ventures in Ukraine. And we keep fingers crossed, maybe one of the next initiatives will be also covering some of the bordering countries we have in the region.
Thank you, Roman. Hira, let me get a sense from you of what the entrepreneurial energy is like in Pakistan. Is it as buzzing as it is in India, for instance, where we have hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs vying for investment, not just in clean tech, across the spectrum of entrepreneurs?
I think it's picking up. We're probably maybe still 7 to 8 years away still. But the good thing is that a few years back, I think 5 years back, in fact, the government initiated a national entrepreneurial ecosystem through partnership of the Ministry of Telecom and ICT and also the telecommunication companies, because we have 4 huge mobile service providers. And so they set up 5 incubation centers across the country in 5 prime cities. And that was kind of the start of, the tech entrepreneurship. Of course, it's more digital focused. Other technologies like health tech, fintech still lagging a little bit, but clean tech, these specific or niche sectors are now coming up. But yes, definitely, I think we've sort of come onto that path, and now things are where people are also. So I think with the ecosystem, the challenge always is to get the resources who can support the startups, because it's not just about the training. There's a lot of input of mentoring and coaching that needs to happen. So locally, those resources, I think, are still. People have started understanding the importance of these local resources, because we can't forever keep running to international incubators or accelerators or calling in people from abroad to work with our startups. So things are definitely changing for the better, and definitely picking up. We've got some. In fact, today I was reading one of our tech startups called Bikia. They have just raised, I think. I'm forgetting the exact figure, but a Series B round of about $3 million, if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually the largest funding that somebody has raised in Pakistan, and they have a simple delivery app in which people sign up with their bikes to deliver food or parcels or.
20 years from now.
Pardon, Suresh, could you please repeat the question?
Certainly. Give us a sense of, if it was a world powered by fuel cell technology, cars, houses, all of that powered by fuel cells, what will the world look like 20 years from now?
Well, I'm in this context, I'm more technology agnostic. So I believe we are nearing the future where the homes and households and businesses would have way broader selection of the energy sources of their disposal, predict which would be dominant technologies. Surely fuel cells have the future, but one of the essential solutions to have them broadly and interested and monitoring very closely the different combinations of energy supply chain, like renewables, hydrogen fuel cells, or renewables, different means of energy storage, different of means of transportation. We just had a big discussion yesterday with the battery storage guys at our largest utility regarding the future battery project. So I believe fuel cells are really essential component for hydrogen power. One of our national finalists and the regional finalist company named Time Machine for Energy was actually pitching one of these technologies yesterday. So in this thing, I believe that the winners would be able to transition the housing and offices for new type of energy supply. So they will be able to do it with the least intervention. So you won't need to rebuild your house from the scratch or repair. So they will be able either to seamlessly integrate into some of the existing systems or do it like, very, very small scale surgery. But I'm a big believer of things where we stop burning anything. So chemical transformation, like direct chemical transformation into electricity is the big thing. Still, the inertia is huge. Like, let's burn something. Let's burn some coal, natural gas, green hydrogen, whatever. Let's burn it, make some steam, lose some energy on the way, turn some turbines, deliver electricity. That's a little bit of outdated thinking. But again, I'm not the person which would decide that. I'm sure that in many cases the markets would be deciding, and the countries, the markets which are creating the biggest diversity would be winning at some point, both from the point of the sustainability, the energy bill, and the dynamics and resiliency of the energy system. Because one of the challenges for fossil-based energy systems, being hyper-centralized very often and being not very democratic, they have this single point of failure, which may lead to serious losses of well-being, money, if something fail, if some parts of supply chain fail and other things. So here in Ukraine, we've been through that period some time ago, both during the, let's say, gas wars with Russia, and some of the Ukrainian territories, the providing coal are currently occupied by the Russian forces, which is unfortunate. But still, we have this flexibility of energy system we should develop. But I'm also closely watching other markets which are actively integrating fuel cells, storage, demand response to increase the grid resiliency and to increase this grid. So enthusiastic, not enough data to make any solid prognosis, but sure we see some change ahead.
Hira, back to you. Last question. The Pakistani government, much like the Indian government and many African countries, is very heavily focused on growth. And growth comes at the cost of pollution, growth comes at the cost of emissions. So countries like ours, we need to grow very fast. So how important is government support, for instance, in promoting entrepreneurship?
To be very honest, our government is still struggling to understand a lot of things that are happening globally. And they are trying, but a lot of the growth or a lot of the different things that are happening are powered by the corporate sector, and the corporate sector is taking the initiative on that. But with the current government, a little bit of change has happened where there are now an increasing number of young parliamentarians who are defined as those under 45 or who are first timers. And contrary to previous governments, definitely more educated, more understanding of, technologies, innovations, things that are happening around the globe. So I think, again, we are kind of in a transitionary stage as we speak right now, but a lot still needs to be done. So, we're still trying to kind of shift from the old mindset to the new mindset. So it can go any way, to be very honest. We never know which day it falls back to the old one, which day it might just say, hey, changes for the better. So there it is.
All right, Hira and Roman, I thank you for joining us on this and sharing your views from Ukraine and from Pakistan. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the global final.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.